Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Rachele Teson and I'm a Nationally Certified School Psychologist here in Missouri. You are not alone if you feel overwhelmed by that ever-growing to-do list. As a school psychologist, we have a lot on our plates, right? And it can be really hard to figure out what to prioritize because everything seems urgent. This week's Tech Tip Tuesday is all about this idea of an electronic or paper, so it's kind of cheating this week, top three list. So, my favorite method has been creating this top three list because it gives me that sense of accomplishment when we're in this world of an ever growing task list. So, what I do is I start with a brain dump of all of the things, and then I add a due date next to each of those tasks. So let's say for this example, I look at my case log, I'm looking at what's coming up, and I maybe write down the student's initials. Okay, I've got these reports to write. I've got this testing session to finish up. I've got these to start. Maybe some observations that need to be completed, phone calls that I need to make, and then any other related tasks to my work. And I do this brain dump, and then I start to figure out, okay, these tasks, because of these due dates, are the most important. So then as I'm planning out my week, I make sure that I'm thinking about if I only got to three things that day, would that help me to stay on track and make progress toward my goals and stay in compliance? So this has been my method, and I've really enjoyed it. It helps me, like I said, to give me better task prioritization skills. So as I'm looking at what is coming up and these due dates, I'll just plug in, okay, on Monday, I really need to get to these three things. On Tuesday, I'm going to prioritize these few things. So that weekly planning page that I just showed you is actually available as a freebie in my TPT store. So I will drop a link for that in our description box. But what it looks like in the electronic side of things is within Google Tasks. If you haven't used Google Tasks before, I really recommend you give it a try, see if it's something that would work for you. But to keep everything electronic and to honor this Tech Tip Tuesday, I did want to show you what it looked like within Google Tasks. So I like to access my Google Tasks within Google Calendar. And if you're seeing all of these events, maybe you watched last week's video all about block scheduling, and I kind of modeled through how you create calendar events, recurring calendar events with yourself to protect your time. And building off of that, if you remember, we talked about office hour time, we talked about report writing blocks. So, what I like to do is pair this block scheduling method with the top three list or within Google Tasks. So, maybe on this Tuesday, I'm just going to click anywhere on the screen within my calendar. And normally I would leave it on event. But for Google Tasks, all you have to do is click on task. And then we would put the task that we need to do. Maybe it's a particular phone call. I might put the student's initials up here or write a note to myself reminding me of the purpose of the call or key points that I want to cover, things like that. And it defaults to whatever time I clicked on. But let's say for me, what I like to do is actually make it an all day event. That way I can see it at the top of my day. You could also assign it a certain time. So you could assign it within your office hours. If you knew that that's something you wanted to complete within that time block, you could absolutely do it that way. So either way, you'll hit save, whatever your preference is. And you all are going to love this dopamine hit. Watch this. If you click on a Google task and you hit mark completed, it's like that virtual version of crossing it off. I love it. So I would definitely encourage you to try Google Tasks. It's a great way to keep track of your top three list on your Google Calendar. Maybe you're plugging it into those times during your report writing chunks or your office hour time, or maybe it's up here at the top of your day so you can kind of see what your priorities are. But either way, I hope you try this out and I hope that you find it helpful. If you are using this brain dump method or this top three task list method, whether it's in Google Tasks or another task prioritization app, please give us your wealth of knowledge so we can all learn from each other. And if you have any questions about Google Tasks, or if you want to access those freebies that I mentioned, I have that weekly planning page. I even have a daily planning page on my TPT store. Make sure that you just interact with me, grab the freebies, make a comment, and we'll just keep talking about task prioritization as school psychologists. See you next week.